One of the altcoins that looks the most like it will go up in value is XRP. I just put together a video in which I talk about how XRP is going to have a rough comeback. Okay, let's be honest. The crypto market is going to have a very rough comeback. However, XRP is a little different in terms of how optimistic the chart really is. I make a lot of XRP stuff. Do I only think XRP is going up because I write a lot of XRP blog posts? Not at all. It's because the chart is one of the most bullish for this altcoin in this area. We remember the move that happened in this space not long ago. This wick and the move on Friday told us a big story. It was one of the most important things we read here. And that's the story of every big overpricing sell-off in history. It was followed by one of the worst rebounds ever. Take a look at the XRP price chart to see a great example of this. This will be added to the 3-week view because we're going back to our last big wicks on the downside. I go back to December 2020 once more. I go back to 2020 March. The market has reached its peak of fear at these 2 wicks. The SEC will sue in December 2020. Right now is one of the worst times for XRP ever. There is a big wick going down. March 2020, COVID, a huge black swan event. Every single chart in the world sells off a lot. Some people believe that crypto is no longer useful. It's done. XRP falls to a low of 11.5 cents. After a year, it went back up and hit a high point of almost $2. XRP just dropped to a low of $1.58, which is almost $1.59. Not a crazy low. That being said, it is a big sell-off. From the top to the bottom, this sell-off was 56%. Back in March 2020, the low point was a drop of 66%. It took us 10% less time to reach the March low. We went on a 1,600% push move to the sky after that March low. Let's do half of that from the low point we just hit. Let's stick with 800%, okay? That's more than $14 in XRP. It would be crazy to see that. And it is definitely possible. Again, I'm only bringing this up because of the way the charts are set up right now. They remind me of May 2017 when XRP was already having a nice run up. After selling a lot, we went crazy. Once more, the price has dropped by 67%. The price went up by 2,500%. Well, that's almost $12 worth of XRP, even if we take $1,000 off the present chart. These are the reasons why XRP looks very bullish right now, because this is the first time we've seen a price drop that was too big, and it was one of the biggest drops in crypto history. The only other times this has led to big pushes to the upside. I'm not the only one who thinks this way, though. In fact, Peter Brandt, a well-known trader, says that XRP's charts are absolutely strong. Peter Brandt, a trader with decades of experience, said that XRP's long-term log chart was one of the best bullish setups he had ever seen. He pointed to a multi-year basing pattern that began in 2014 as proof. The analysis released on October 13, 2025, was backed by expert Credible Crypto, who predicted prices in the double digits, and lawyer Johnny Deaton, who said prices could reach $1,000. After the SEC case was settled, XRP trades at $2.58 and has over $10 billion worth of volume every 24 hours. However, short-term indicators point to possible pullbacks from $2.70, which is seen as resistance. Now, let's look at what's going on. The way the charts are set up is definitely very strong. Peter himself wrote this post, and this is what he sees. We have this long, stretched out wedge, just like in 2014, which led to the huge breakout into the all-time high that we always go back to. Then we can see that the price range we had from May through the summer and into the fall is very similar to where we are trading now. It feels like we're right here, which is why I said this place on the chart is very important to pay attention to. This is where it all began. We already know that this thing went crazy up in 2017 and 2018 to reach its all-time high. So if we do the same thing, an almost $12 XRP could be at stake, which would be very important. Also, Johnny Deaton did quote this and say, "I'd like to know what both blockchain backer and Credible Crypto think about Peter's point." Also, Credible Crypto replied, "This has been my bias for a while, and it hasn't changed in the last 48 hours. I still think the XRP chart is one of the most positive higher time frame charts in this whole space. I expect XRP to be worth more than $10 by the end of this cycle. And yes, I totally agree with this thought. Listen, it's hard not to be optimistic about XRP right now. The chart shows that prices are going up. Besides the chart being very strong, the whole space, right? We just had one of the biggest crashes in space history going all the way back to COVID The whole space could go crazy over the next couple of weeks if this chart keeps going in the same direction. Once more, the question is whether or not we see the same trend. But the most important thing for me is that we don't have the same rally from March 2020 to March 2021, and then again in November 2021. Seeing the market bounce back is the main thing I'm looking forward to. I'm very sure that the market will bounce back and we will continue to rise. What I'm really interested in is XRP and something that will help it hit $10 to $15. First, let's talk about how the market for XRP is growing, just like the CME Group market. A post from CME Group not long ago said that the CFTC regulated options on Solana and XRP are now live and dealing. This is about the post from October 6th that said CFTC regulated options on Solana and XRP futures would be available in just 1 week. For those who don't know, this comes after more than $59 billion worth of XRP and Solana futures were traded. Again, this is because XRP has been one of the most popular futures contracts on the CME Group platform. This shows how much interest there is in the idea of ETFs. As for ETFs, we already know that there have been a lot of important changes to those ETFs for XRP, like when Bitwise filed the third update to its Bitwise XRP ETF with the US SEC. John Squire put this up there. Then he sent us another message saying that Breaking Wisdom Tree had sent the SEC change number 2 for the Wisdom Tree Fund. We just got a lot of new information about a lot of these XRP ETFs. This is the whole list. These are the last due dates. All of these dates fall in October, which is a very bullish month for XRP. This starts on October 22nd and ends on October 23rd. The 19th, the 24th, the 18th, and the 23rd are also here. Then it was November, and Franklin Templeton died on November 14th. A lot of these are still being worked on. However, I believe there is a good chance that these will be fully approved. That's because the SEC has been very positive about the crypto area. There hasn't been any big news about these ETFs yet, but they could get the go-ahead at any time. Amazingly, Cointelegraph, a website that usually doesn't like XRP, just wrote about all of these XRP ETFs, saying that Insight XRP could be Wall Street's dark horse, with spot ETF files underway and some funds seeing it as the next Bitcoin. This is really strange to see. When we think about all of this and look at the price chart, I think it's pretty clear that XRP has a lot of drivers and not just Ripple Swell and the other things I just talked about in a recent XRP video. XRP is also one of the most bullish old coins in this area right now. Veterans are aware of it. These big name analysts are looking at the XRP chart and seeing the same thing we do, a long period of consolidation that finished with one of the biggest breakouts in November.